Coming up on today's show, we will break down the latest CBS Sports 2026 NFL mock draft. It's always good for some, call it interesting picks. Maybe not as crazy as some of the previous years have gone, but we'll go 1 to 32. Don't get me at the draft order. They based it on the Super Bowl odds reverse order. Didn't adjust for how the playoffs would actually work, so do make note. You'll see 3 AFC teams in the last 4 picks. Not my fault. Pick number 1, Arch Manning, out of Texas, gets to go play for his granddad's team. If Arch puts together the type of season I think everyone expects him to, wins the Heisman, Texas wins a Natty. Maybe he does go pro earlier than expected. But he also hasn't thrown 100 passes yet in his career, so there is some unknown with Arch, despite the massive level of hype around him. Now, we got more quarterbacks to get to. Do you guys want a way too early, not so much rankings, but look at some of the top prospects to watch among the quarterback group? If you do, show it by liking today's show. Number 2, LaNorris Sellers out of South Carolina. Gifted dual threat at 6'3", 240, big arm. I need to see some more stability, some productivity as well, just in terms of accuracy, everything else there. So I am excited about Sellers, but there is, projection involved with all of these players here. The Giants at 3, Francis Mauigoa out of Miami, the right tackle for the Hurricanes, would then obviously plug in, I think, pretty decently. Opposite Andrew Thomas, and to protect Jackson Dart, which Giants picking 3 is probably a new regime, which does make things a little bit dicey here. I am a little surprised to see Caleb Banks at number 4. I think there is upside. There is untapped potential. There is the ability to be a potential top 15, top whatever pick in the NFL, but I am surprised that he goes 4 here. That's very early, and especially to be the first defensive player taken. Kadyn Proctor at 5, I think actually does make some sense, in this range as a potential franchise left tackle. I am curious how Tennessee would play this, because you just signed Dan Moore to be your left tackle. You're going to put J.C. Latham back on the right side. What is your plan? Who moves inside a guard? I am curious how that one would, fit. Allar, out of Penn State, number 6 here to the Las Vegas Raiders. The traits are there. The consistency, the reliability in those big moments is not there yet. Allar, the NFL's high on him. I would not be surprised if he's the first overall pick, frankly. But I personally want to see, bigger play, better play in big moments. That matters for prospects. If you can be big and strong arm and even move a little bit, but if you're not making plays when it counts in college, why do I think you're going to suddenly make them in the NFL? Predictions at the pinned poll on today's show. Who will be the first quarterback drafted in 2026? Let me know in the comment section of today's show, especially the ad comes here on YouTube. Carolina at 7, Spencer Fano out of Utah. I am curious if Carolina thinks tackle will end up being a need next year. There are some young guys. Guys got to take a step forward there. I think there is potential for him to be the first tackle taken, though. Offensive tackle taken. Browns at 8, Jordyn Tyson. I do think we'd be talking about him a little bit more had he not missed some of the college football playoff with injury. I think that Chris Trapassa, who did this mock draft, by the way, is very high on Arizona State in general, but receiver is an obvious area of concern long-term for Cleveland. T.J. Parker here to the Indianapolis Colts at number 9 overall. Don't let the CBS Sports typos fool you. They have it as T.J. Packer, not his name, and a Patriots logo, also wrong. It's the Colts. That's the pick here at number 9. We'll correct the typos for them on the show. I think top 10 is good value there. 11 sacks last year, 20 TFLs, part of a really, really good Clemson team. Ruben Bain Jr. out of Miami. Kind of banged up this past year, wasn't as productive. I think he gets back to his freshman year campaign. This will not be a huge surprise. I know myself and producer Chris are big fans of Peter Woods out of Clemson at number 11. I love his game. I don't really get another investment at defensive tackle for Seattle, but the player, I think this is good range for him. Cade Klubnik out of Clemson here to the Rams. This pick via the Falcons, by the way. Wouldn't be surprised if the Rams pursue a QB with We're going to do the Matthew Stafford thing again next year, by the way. It's just how it's going to go. The way his contract is set up. Klubnik, I think, is kind of being a little bit undervalued. Again, I am extremely excited about Clemson and what they could potentially do this year. Center at 13 is, honestly, it just doesn't happen. That's Jake Slaughter out of Florida, who maybe could have been a top 75 pick had he turned pro if you wanted to. It's a need. O-line help is needed. I'd be a little surprised if a center went top 15. That just doesn't happen very often. Love Caleb Downs to my Cowboys at 14. This is one of my favorite players. I love not everyone likes watching safeties. I've noticed when it comes to like NFL draft study, they think it's boring. I'm a big fan of it. I'm a sicko in that regard. I think this is one of the best players in the NFL draft this upcoming year based on what we've seen so far. The Cowboys don't invest in safeties this way, but it might be a need for them, and it's a great player, so I'd be all for it. I just don't know if they'll actually go down that path. Now, you can get NFL rookie jerseys for this year's past class in 2025 by going to chatsports.com/NFL jersey. All jerseys are available over there. It's not just the rookies, so you'll see like a George Pickens. You'll see a Shadur Sanders high. It's based on like who's selling the most overall. So you might have to sort or filter or search for your team and or player, but they're all available. Chatsports.com/NFL jersey. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Cardinals take Keldrick Folk out of Auburn. I do think that is a good football player who's got kind of some inside-outside flexibility, which I think is something the Cardinals could have some interest in. I don't know if they're going to spend another premium asset on that type of player. Like, they spent a third-round pick on Jordan Burch. They signed Josh Sweat, and they have a second-round former pick in B.J. Ojulari. They added Baron Browning. They've got first-round pick in Walter Nolan. Like, at some point, like, can the offense get some help? But I think the player value is about right here. A surprise at 16. Sam Leavitt, the Arizona State quarterback here. By the way, no Garrett Nussmeier in this mock draft. I don't know if he's really going to be a true first-round pick. He's going to have a lot more pressure on him with no Cam Scadaboo. But we'll be paying a lot more attention to Arizona State than we did, this time last year. Danny Dennis Sutton out of Penn State goes to the Chicago Bears here. Oh, look, it is another very talented, gifted, athletic pass rusher out of Penn State. That's kind of all they do out there. Long term, okay. They did sign Deo Deningbo to help out at edge, but maybe Jeremiah Love could have been a fit here. But I'll give CBS credit, not doing just the Jeremiah Love pick that I and everyone else has been doing. 18, Denver, Evan Stewart. This is like the ultimate, this is the year he breaks out. Super highly touted recruit coming out of A&M. Didn't produce very well. Goes to Oregon, was third on the team in receiving yards. There is untapped talent here that has people excited. Number 19, Avion Terrell. That is A.J. Terrell's brother, so it'd be fun to have them get to kind of square off twice a year. I like Benjamin Morrison. I think this is the right range for this type of player to go. I think this is about where Terrell should be mocked right now. I do think it's worth mentioning the Bucs drafted 2 corners on day 2 last season. So, are they going to add another top 75, top 80 pick to this room? I'm not as convinced. I do think Jermon McCoy to the Chargers makes a ton of sense. Corner is still a need for them. I would not be surprised if McCoy ends up being the first corner taken, by the way, in the 2026 NFL Draft. Now, if you want more free NFL Draft YouTube videos, you've come to the right spot. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out right now. If you took a photo and just cropped off the jersey and said, where does this guy play? Iowa would be one of your first 2 guesses. Gennings Dunker, which also is an elite offensive line name too, by the way, to the Houston Texans. I appreciate, by the way, that Trapass was doing some different names in there. He's got some real ability. I think the fit of Harold Perkins with Minnesota and Brian Flores actually does make a lot of sense, given the way that Perkins is kind of like this awkward, weird tweener. I think the Vikings could maximize him. Coming off another injury, kind of a down year, back-to-back years in a row, I don't think he should be a top 25 mock draft pick, at least for now. Caleb Lomu out of Utah. Hey, let's get the Niners off tackle. At some point, they'll take one early, right? Right? LT Overton, this is kind of like okay, let's try again with the Lucas Van Ness pick. Packers have invested, though, a lot in that front four room. I don't know if they'd spend the 24th pick on it, but I do think Overton's got a lot of fans in the NFL. Armaj Reed Adams out of Texas A&M, who I have not seen in any other mock draft, so tip of the cap to Chris for going a little bit different on that one there. Guard is probably an area of concern. They did spend a third-round pick on Dylan Fairchild, but additional help is probably something the Bengals should be pursuing. I love Anthony Hill to the Commanders at 26. I am a huge fan of his game. I think he should be the first off-ball linebacker taken. I think he should be over Harold Perkins as of right now. He can do – I think he's better at the stuff that we kind of think Harold Perkins is good at. Like, I think Hill is just a better version of him as of right now. I think at 26, replacing Bobby Wagner long-term, allowing him to do some blitzing coverage stuff with Dan Quinn, that's a home run fit. Of the eligible 2026 NFL draft prospects, so i.e. not Jeremiah Smith, not others from that elite receiving core in 2027. Who is your favorite player for the 2026 NFL draft? Let me know in the comments of today's show. Rams again here at number 27. Caleb Tiernan out of Northwestern. He's going to be older, which I think actually kind of is a concern, but I do like double dipping at helping your quarterback get protected. Isaiah World has immense upside. If I think Lions replacing Taylor Decker long term makes a ton of sense. Very curious how he plays and where he could end up going this upcoming season. Carnell Tate. Oh, look, another OSU, former 5-star first round pick. At some point, the teams aren't going to keep adding receivers, right? Like, the guys they have are going to play better, right? Right? Dylan Thieneman out of Oregon. I love this pick. I love this fit. This is a no-brainer for me. Like, Bills need a safety. I think Thieneman is underrated. Not a household name. He will be going from Purdue to Oregon this upcoming season. Georgia Tech does not throw the ball with as much success and volume as some other teams do. I do like the mention of Eric Singleton here. He's not very big, so I do kind of wonder the fit alongside Zay Flowers, but he's got some juice that I think is going to make him very appealing, even if the raw production does not jump off the screen. I love Mateo Uiagalelei here at 32. By the way, he's only going to be 20 this year. I don't know if you guys knew that. He's awesome. This is DJU's younger brother. Not little. He's bigger. He might very well be a top 15 pick when it's all said and done. Who do you think CBS Sports left out of their 2026 NFL mock draft? I'll mention some names here in just a second, but let me know in the comments of today's show. Couple QBs, Garrett Nussmeier, Fernando Mendoza, not included in this one. The one that stands out is Nussmeier. Jeremiah Love is, I think, the top back in this year's class. Denzel Boston's got some fans out of Washington. Austin Barber along the offensive line from Florida. One Georgia Tech player in round one, 0 Georgia players. Defensively, I think keep an eye out for Christian Miller and C.J. Allen. I like Malik Muhammad and Jalen Kilgore. In general, I'm a big fan of the safety class. Kamari Ramsey is a player I'm a fan of. I think NFL is a fan of too. Maybe he could have been a top 75 pick had he been gone pro, such been eligible this past year.